You just want to clap? I mean, come on, Connor. I like that. All right. Hey, freshmen, how are you doing back there? Look at this. Everybody locked in, sitting up. Oh, it's so good. All right. Hey, just a little heads up. We kind of figured this out today, but we spread the freshmen out over all three sections. So sophomores, juniors, Carwell, are you excited about that? I mean, wow. Okay, good. All right, so sophomores and juniors, from now on, as you come in, you guys can move towards the front and fill in the middle where the freshmen were, and that will be wonderful. Everybody doing okay? Everybody good? All right, here we go. First full week of school. It's Tuesday. Brian Kelly's already asleep. Are you okay, Mr. Kelly? You all right? Okay, we're already tired, and we're going to be all right. Mr. Smith, if you can keep an eye on him, that would be good. All right. Listen up. Let's lock in for just a second with a couple of things. Really, really appreciated last Friday. Mrs. Hockett just kind of resetting our tone, getting our eyes fixed where they need to be, holding us to high expectations. Really grateful for that. Sophomores, juniors, seniors, I want to let you know that our freshmen received a really cool challenge yesterday for us to be receiving what God has for us in chapel. Here's what I said to them, and I want everybody to hear this. I think you probably know that your parents kind of have a vision for your life. What they would love for you to experience, that they would love for you to become. I mean, I realize that. My parents had a vision for my life, and I have highly disappointed them. I'm kidding. They love me so deeply. They're great. But here's the thing. Do you know what at Wheaton Academy? Listen, you got to get this. You got to get this. We have a vision for your lives as well. Meaning that when we come into chapel, when you do your classes, when you do your things, all the stuff that you do, it's not just a random collection of activities. It's actually because we want you to experience something. We want you to be stretched. We want you to be challenged. We want you to grow. And so we know that as we come into chapel each and every time, there are some speakers, I mean, come on. Did Jeff Brook knock it out of the park Friday? I mean, wow. I mean, I've been waking up in the middle of the night. Here I am. I mean, I'm ready to go. Some of our speakers, guys, are going to hit you. They're going to get you. And it's going to hit in a really real way for you. Some of the time, a speaker it's not going to resonate with you. Here's the thing. It's not that was bad or something that you need to pay attention to. It's just for you to have the attitude of, you know what, I heard something today, didn't really resonate with me, but I bet it may have resonated with somebody around me. So I can just sit up and I can listen. And here's what I role played this for the freshmen yesterday. If you're not interested in what's going on in chapel, let me show you here's what you should look like. You ready? That's it. You don't have to talk to anybody. You don't need to fall asleep. If you're not interested in what's going on, you're just sitting there. And it's okay. It's really okay. So I'm excited about that and really appreciated that. So freshmen, you got new seats. Fantastic. We have some new transfers this semester, and I just want to welcome you to chapel and welcome you to what's going on here. Can we give a round of applause for our new transfers that are here this semester? Really excited as you guys experience something new here at Wheaton Academy. Today is a special day. You guys saw as you were coming in. Today is our Winterim celebration as we thank God for all of the wonderful things that He has done in and through us, the opportunities that He gave us. It's been really fun to navigate the halls the last couple of days, particularly last week as you guys were kind of sharing about Winterim stuff. And I kind of overheard a few things of Winterim is the best thing at Wheaton Academy. Everybody's like, if we could just do Winterim. And I would vote for that. How about a 2-week school year? I would vote for, no, I'm just kidding. But how much you love Winterim and the experiences that you had. Just looking at the slideshow, the myriad of things that you guys got to do. From cooking to working like at Camcraft, an internship there, interning in so many different places, trips all around the world. You people in Thailand petting the little fuzzy baby elephant. I mean, come on, who gets that experience? That was fun. And then I was excited being a child of the 80s because I saw a couple of Gap sweatshirts in there. Who's thrifting that? Okay, nobody wants to own it. Okay, that's good. I really appreciate that. That was good. So today is a day where we get the opportunity to hear from some of our peers of the experiences they had. Some who traveled, some who stayed here and did classes, some who did internships. We get to hear from that, and that's going to be fun. And then at the end of our time today, I'm going to talk with 3 students who went on the Scotland trip and just really had an interesting and an incredibly challenging and inspiring experience. Going to hear from them and kind of receive a challenge from them for us as a student body. So here's what we're going to do real quickly. Let's watch a highlight video. Let's see some stuff, and then we'll invite our panel of interviewees up here. Roll that vid.
Winterim is
an opportunity to serve people.
an opportunity to make a lot of new friends.
Opportunity that I'm very grateful for.
My favorite memory from the trip was just surfing with all my best friends every day. There's so many laughs, jokes, and just fun experiences being out in the water with everyone. We can all learn about the Constitution, but going to the archives and seeing the Constitution in front of us, that was a really cool experience.
Winterim definitely just gave me a lot more perspective on how different cultures interact, and it helped me learn more about myself and about others in the community.
I would say Winterim is a time to discover.
For me, Winterim was a life-changing experience.
So I went to Camcraft, which is an engineering and manufacturing facility. They make all the parts for the Starlink satellite. They're constantly trying to make it lighter so that when it launches into space, it's easier to travel.
Winterim is an experience to stretch your faith and get you outside of your comfort zone. I was able to apply what I've learned in Bible classes in the real world.
How cool is that? Shot by our students here. Good morning, my name is Mrs. Heavey, and I am our Winterim Trips coordinator, but I really just love all things Winterim. And I have brought out some students this morning. You can go middle. I asked them, they're kind of from a myriad of things of Winterim, so I have some questions. This is your chance to listen and learn kind of from what they share. So I'm gonna have first, will you just go down, say your names and what you did for Winterim.
Hello, my name's Ellie, and I went on the missions trip down to Nicaragua.
Yeah, I'm Jacob Erickson, and I went to Washington, D.C.
My name is JD Musso, and I did Exploring Star Wars and Game Design Lab.
I'm Zion Willits, and I went to Hawaii.
I'm Emma Gregerson, and I did an internship at Village Church.
I'm Anna Williamson, and I went to the Dominican Republic.
Kind of just take turns answering, sharing the mics. This first question I have is, kind of in a general sense, what do you want the student body to know about your Winterim experience?
One thing that I found really cool was that I feel like when we think about missions trips, we think about big things. And we did some of those. So we did painting, we did cleaning and things like that. But one thing that really matters is the small acts of service. We did a lot of home visits where we went into women's homes and just talked to them, asked them about their families, asked them about their kids, and just asked them for prayer. And so that was a really cool thing that I realized that it doesn't matter where you are, but just asking people how they're doing, asking them about their families, and just telling them I'll be praying for you, really leaves a big impact on people.
Yeah, so I went to D.C., and it's a really cool opportunity to see, our nation's government, firsthand, and seeing all the things that you've seen in textbooks or in just anything in school. Just seeing it firsthand was really cool. And also, it's a great way to get your government credit if you need that. But yeah, just seeing the museums and all the memorials and the monuments, it was just really cool.
I think it was just really fun to get to learn about new people and get to meet them and interact with them. I think, we're kind of sometimes separated by our grades, and so it was kind of fun to meet some seniors and sophomores who, like Star Wars and making board games and stuff like that.
Yeah, so for me, trips like that, like to Hawaii or Costa Rica or any number of trips, are really once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. And I guess if I could say one thing that I want y'all to know is just like really cherish those moments, whether that be now or later in life. That's really just one thing that I could say. Opportunities like that are blessings, and you need to cherish those.
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to do an internship with my mentor, Brianne Fueling. She's in charge of Next Gen, so that's like preschool through high schoolers. And she also does biblical counseling. So I guess some things I really would want you guys to know is like how incredible of an opportunity doing an internship is, and how like affirming it was for my future. I now know God's plan for me. I know what I want to do. I know I want to go into ministry. I want to follow in my mentor's steps and go to Moody Bible and get a biblical counseling degree. And it was just like such a life-giving experience, and I really connected with the Lord on a really deep level.
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to do a missions trip, and something that we did was work really closely with all the missionaries that were working with Kids Alive, like the Troutlines and different people who were working in the schools. And it was just really cool to like hear their stories and hear the different things that they were contributing to the ministry. And I think it was cool just to see like the front lines of ministry, and it was really cool just to like be on a missions trip, and it's an incredible opportunity that you guys should all do. But it was really cool just to see like how being a missionary actually is.
One thing that I think everyone here should know is that meeting new people can be very intimidating, but it can be worth it. On the Costa Rica trip, I was the last person to sign up. I didn't even know who was going on the trip. I didn't know what I was expecting. But throughout that week of Winterim, I got to meet so many new amazing people that I'd never talked to before. And I think that it's really worth it. You can make lifelong friends, or even just someone to say hi to in the halls. So whether you're like a freshman or a senior who doesn't know many people, I think it's always worth it to make new friends and meet new people.
Thank you. This next one tell us a highlight or like a story or favorite moment that you had while in your experiences.
One highlight for me was that this mission trip was a bit different, is that we weren't together every day. We were all at different sites. So I was working at the women's social work site, but we had people in sports and teaching and finance. And so we'd all come back to the base at different times, and we would crowd onto 2 bunk beds and just talk about our days. We would talk about the laughs, the things we learned, and about the people we met. And then that conversation would then carry over to dinner, where we talked with the other site leaders about their days and about our days. And we would just keep talking through the night. And for me, that was something I looked forward to every day, because I learned so much more through my peers, and I learned how God was not only working through them, but also down at their sites as well. So it was really cool, because everyone had a different day, and so I got to learn about people that I would have never gotten the chance to meet. I learned about finance down there and how people are running, their businesses and just things like that. So when you get to hear other people's days, it was a really cool thing.
Yeah, I think a highlight for me was just, like I said, seeing all like the cool monuments and the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, the Capitol, just seeing all that just like right in front of you was really cool. Also, we went to a lot of neat museums, a lot of variety. I really liked the American History Museum, and there was a lot of artifacts just from the past with like Captain America shield, or different costumes that different actors have worn. So I think that was really cool to see, just really up close. I thought that was pretty cool.
So, if you guys know me, you know that I'm a huge Star Wars nerd and a huge gaming nerd. And I tend to express that with my friends, and sometimes they don't always like it. But one of the best parts of being in the class, like the Star Wars class and the game design class, was there were other nerds there, and I kind of got to express myself, and I got to nerd out a little bit, and that was so fun, and I'll always remember that.
So, for me, the highlight of my trip to Hawaii was one of the days we went to the beach. We went to the beach like 3 times, I think. But one of the days, I think it was the first day, it was the beach is about a 30-minute drive away from the camp that we were staying at. And I guess the biggest highlight for me was just like, you know, community and like community building with the guys on the wrestling team through you know, conditioning and through like playing on the beach and all that good stuff. We did a little bit of beach wrestling, which was fun. And really just the biggest highlight here was just the bonding experience that I got and just, you know, the memories that I made through that trip.
Yeah, so I had like 2 highlights. One of them was working with the 5th and 6th graders. I'm now like working as a leader for the 5th and 6th grade youth group, which is really cool. And I get to like just like give life to them and inspire them and encourage them in their faith and their journey. And I also learned so much from them and received so much joy, and it's really fun. And then another thing was doing one-on-ones with the staff at the church. I learned like all of the details and the like little things about like what goes into the different ministries at church, like global and local, and then also like the youth groups and the children's ministry and stuff like that. And it just like really increased my passion for that, and it was really, really moving. It was really cool.
Yeah, so on my trip, we had the opportunity to go to serve at 2 different schools. One school was a junior high, and one school was a pre-K to 12th grade. And one of the days we got to go to Palo Blanco School, and we got to help with the preschool classes, and we got to be teachers' aides in their classes. And that was probably my favorite part because working with the little kids was just really fun. And just seeing how like attached they got to you, like even though you like just walked into the classroom, and seeing how much joy they have and seeing how they like really like to play with you. So yeah.
One highlight from my trip was spending the meal time together with all of the different people that I met on the trip, and really learning about who each person is and where they came from, you know, just about that person. And another really big thing, a really big highlight of the trip was at the end of each day, we would do a devotional where we would all sit in a circle, say the highlight of our day. And what I thought was really interesting was we all followed the same plan, all 15 of us. We all did the exact same thing that day, but there were 15 individual experiences that we got to hear about. And I thought that was that played a really big part in the trip, that we all did the same thing, but we all had individual experiences within the trip.
Thank you. All right, the last question I have, some of you alluded to this a little bit, but what did God reveal to you about himself, about yourself, in your experiences?
I think one thing was that just the power of stories. I think so often we go through our lives and everyone has their thing going on that they deal with from day to day. And we think that either people haven't gone through it or they wouldn't understand and things like that. But throughout the trip, we got to hear staff, their stories, and some of us girls shared ours. And as we were all kind of sitting there, we all were kind of looking at each other and being like, oh, we're both going through that, or I've been through that, or I'm struggling with that. And it was just a really cool time to sit there and understand that you're not alone in a lot of things, which sounds really cliche, but God created us to be together. That's why this is such a blessing alone. And so God created us to have friends and to have family. And so I think just if you ever get the chance to share your story, I say you should. And also not only sharing your story, but also listening to other people's stories. You'll end up learning a lot about yourself and just a lot about them. I thought I knew some of the girls on the trip, and after hearing their stories, I was like, wow, when I look at you now, I see you differently, and I see you in a much greater way. So.
Yeah, a lot of the places that we went to with our group, there was a lot of Bible verses and like scripture on the walls, and it was really cool to read those and realize that like God has been active not only in DC area but in our country in the past, and he will be in the future, just to see that our government is rooted on the foundations of Christ. And I thought that was really cool just to see that we learn it here in school all the time, but to see it really out in our nation, which is a big place to be, just to see all the biblical references to the Bible, which was really cool to see from some of our founding fathers.
I think one thing that I learned is that you can find God in anything. Like, I didn't go on a trip or anything, but I did. Mr. Piercy we would watch the Star Wars movies, and he would connect it back to the gospel somehow. And you can kind of see that even though like George Lucas wasn't a Christian man necessarily, you can still see the themes all throughout his movies. And even in something like Game Design Lab, like we had so many ideas, and I didn't actually think we were going to finish on time, but we ended up finishing, and we were just super grateful. And any good thing that you can do, you can find a way to praise God in it.
So for me, one of the things that God revealed to me while in Hawaii on that trip was just really just his magnitude and his greatness. I have a verse here. It's Psalms 93:3. It says, "The seas have lifted up, Lord. The seas have lifted up their voice. The seas have lifted up their pounding waves. Mightier than the thunder of the great waters, mightier than the breakers of the sea. Lord on high is mighty." And to be in Hawaii, and when I went to the beach, we got to see these massive waves. And one of the guys there was telling us that the waves that we saw, those were huge. But then just weeks before, they were even larger. And so just to really think about that, and just to know that, like, how great are those waves? Those waves are great, but then just how much greater is our Father in heaven, and just to see the sites that we went to, and just to see the beauty that God has really created us to see, and just to know, like, he's so much greater than that. That's really one of the biggest things that he revealed to me.
Yeah, so for me, there was quite a few things God revealed to me through this internship. Honestly, it was really surprising. I kind of went into it with a mindset like, ugh, this is going to be boring. Like, it's just a requirement by law, and like, I don't want to do this. And it ended up being like one of the most fun experiences I've ever had. Obviously, to reiterate what I said earlier, it taught me what I wanted to do in the future and what my next step was in life. But another thing I learned when doing one-on-ones with some of the leadership in the church is how important having a personal relationship with the Lord is when doing ministry. Like, obviously, yes, you want to talk about the Bible and you want to share that with other people, but you also want to have like a personal connection with the Lord so that you can share it even better in an even more like beautiful way. And they also showed me like how much work doing ministry is. I mean, I was there sometimes from like 9 a.m. till 10:30 p.m. just doing a bunch of different stuff, going along into meetings that were always fun, and then also like doing ministry, women's Bible study, stuff like that. And then I just really learned the power of prayer, and how that has like helped my church so much. And I also, one more thing, sorry, I keep going. I learned that you can do missions work within your own community. Because I always went on missions trips and I was like, wow, I feel called to do ministry and missions work. I never realized how easily I could do that within my own church and my own high school. And I just thought that was really cool. And God was just so revealing through that, and it was awesome.
Yeah, so I think God has revealed to me like two different things through this mission trip. One is that like we are all called to serve with the gifts that God has given us, and he has given us each different gifts, whether that's like helping with kids or helping with teachers or helping with adults or doing like music or anything that you may be doing. He has given you like a complete unique set of gifts, like just for you, that he has called you to serve and serve different people. So that was just really cool to like use all our gifts to like serve the different kids. So that was really cool. And then the second thing that he revealed to me is that the importance of rejoicing in any situation that we have. We had the opportunity to go to some houses of some students who were at our schools, and just seeing that was kind of cool because I saw the situation that they were in their houses, and a lot of the kids that we worked with came from really hard home situations and family situations, yet they still came to school with a smile on their face, and they still were so full of joy. And that was just really cool to see that even in the midst of their incredibly hard situations and home lives, that they could still rejoice. So.
All right, so I know this is kind of a textbook answer, but one thing that God revealed to me on this trip was his beauty, because being in such a repetitive environment here in school, you know, you come to school, you see the same people, you go to the same classes every day, every week, every month, whatever, for such a long time. But getting that change of scenery, that change of people, that change of viewpoint, it really expanded my mind to see how great God was. And I know that not a lot of people are very fortunate and they don't get to see a lot of the world, and we're very blessed to be able to have these opportunities. And I think that it was so great getting to see what God has done within this world and within these people, that we're able to go so far. And he really showed me his beauty on this trip.
I don't even have words. That's like, I got emotion. Thanks for preaching, guys. Can we give them a hand for sharing? We have our Scotland team coming up next for some more sharing.
Man, that's really good stuff. We've got just a few minutes, and I want to just drill down a little bit on the trip to Scotland. How many of you went to Scotland? Okay, all right, I see those hands. Great stuff. So I want just to take a second to hear from this group, because they did something that's a little bit unique and a little bit intimidating for us, but I want you to hear from them. What an encouragement from that panel that was just here. I think you'll be encouraged from this as well. Scotland, beautiful place, wonderful thing. You were with a ministry called Harold's Trust. Adelaide, tell us a little bit, what was kind of the mission? What was the purpose of what you guys were doing?
So our main focus was to do street preaching. So we had an opportunity to do this thing called Street Cafe, where we would set up like hot drinks, like hot chocolate and coffee and tea. And we would talk to the people that would get the drinks and pass out Gospels of John. And another thing we did on the streets was this thing called Red Box, where we would get up on a box and just preach for the city to hear.
Okay, let's soak that in for just a second. We're going to set up a table on the street corner with some hot chocolate, and we're going to stand on a box and preach. That sounds pretty intimidating. Ella, why were you nervous? What was that experience like doing those kinds of things?
I was definitely nervous. One of the first nights at dinner, we all went around the table and we were talking about what we were looking forward to. And a lot of people said Street Cafe, and I was not one of those people. So I can definitely say that I was nervous. But just like you get into the rhythm of it. And the first time, I would say like within the first 5 minutes of doing it, God is with you in it. And like that, the fact that he's with you is so comforting. And something that Rob repeatedly told us was like, God knows every single person that's going to come up to the table. Like he already knows the conversations you're going to have. So even if you feel like a conversation doesn't go well, like he can still use that to plant a seed in like your kindness and stuff. And then for Redbox, like I was just going back and forth, like, I don't know if I want to do it or like if I want to. And then eventually I just told Mr. T, I was like, you just have to force me to do it. Like I didn't want to leave the trip with like any regrets. And I knew that if I didn't do Redbox, I probably would have regrets. And so one of the training days, this piece of wisdom was given to us by one of the guys helping with our trip. He's on the board of the Harold's Trust. His name is Brian. And he told us, God doesn't need your ability. He needs your availability. And so that just kind of was like a good word of peace going into it. And I mean, I was nervous before I got up on the box, but seeing all my friends do it, like once you get up there, it's not that scary.
Love it. AJ, share with us, how were you guys prepared there? And maybe how did just preparation here in life, how were you prepared to get up on a red box and preach?
So I was also very, very nervous to just talk to random strangers in Scotland about my faith and about what Jesus has done in my life. But I would say one of the most impactful parts of the trip for me was just the team that we worked with Harold's Trust, and how they really encouraged us and give us tools and really equipped us. And these people were just people that radiated Christ's love, and just literally being around them just like really, really pushed us in our faith. And just because they were so boldly following God's call on their life. And there were just so many people like Brian, like Ella talked about, who is a turkey farmer from South Carolina and has like 1,000,000 degrees under the sun. But just how he like flew out to help mentor us and just to really pour into us and encourage us and also just drive us around Scotland. And Rob, the leader of Harold's Trust, and just his unwavering trust of God in his life and just in whatever situation he's going into, of just trusting that God will work and not worrying about the situation being perfect. Of Daniel and Amy, 2 interns with the organization, and just their just unflagging love for people and just how they seeked out relationships with others and relationships with us, and just really, really wanted to encourage us and love on us. And of Scotty, another intern with the organization, who his life was changed by Street Cafe. He was just walking around the city, and because of Street Cafe, he got saved, and now he's working with that organization. And so just these people like really, really impacted me and just gave me the confidence and boldness that God was with me in whatever I was doing, and that I didn't have to worry about being perfect or saying the right words, but just stepping into the situation, fully trusting that God could really work through me. But also just coming back, I've realized that just here, like, the mentorship that we've had from teachers and just all these classes has really like definitely shaped who I am as a Christian. And I couldn't have done this trip without just my time at Wheaton Academy. And I'm just so, so grateful for how I've been poured into these past 4 years.
Amen. Adelaide, tell us, what did you see God do in and through you?
So I saw God work through a lot of the conversations I had during Street Cafe. And so one of the men that I met, he had said he never had a Bible before. And so I offered him one of the Gospels of John, and the joy and thankfulness he radiated was so indescribable. It was amazing. And another woman that I met, she was a believer, and she did something similar to Street Cafe just around the corner. And she said that she was impressed and encouraged that teenagers were spreading God's love. Another man that I met was a Muslim university student, and he asked me to tell him something new about Jesus. So we talked, and we talked about Jesus being the Son of God and the reliability of the Bible. In this conversation, I was able to use my knowledge from the classes here at Wheaton Academy. I never realized how applicable these facts could be in the real world. I was able to find facts about Jesus that I learned from Life of Christ with Mr. Moran. I supported the reliability of the Bible with what I learned in doctrine with Mr. De La Torre. And finally, I could share my testimony with him from writing one in expository preaching with Mr. Hogan. Every Bible class here is there for a reason, and mid-conversation, I realized how God has been working through all 4 years of my high school. Though most conversations were with unbelievers, I could see God working in every single one of them.
So good. So exciting to hear that and to hear what God is doing in and through you guys. AJ, real quickly, we got to wrap up, but I want you to tell us real quickly. I know for all of us, I mean, we've heard up here already, you get on the plane, you start coming home, Winterim's over. What do you want for Wheaton Academy? What would you say to our student body from what you experienced? What would you call us to?
I would just say that God can use you in literally whatever circumstance. Like, as long as you walk into any situation with your full confidence and trust on Him, like, it's truly unfathomable the work that He can do. And also, just like when you step outside your comfort zone, just making a relationship that might seem scary, like going and talking to someone you might normally not talk to, or even to the point of going up to random strangers and talking about Jesus and what Jesus has done in your life. It's very scary, but God just, like equips you in such a way and is just with you and works through you in unimaginable ways. And like you are not alone in whatever you do.
I just have to say, as I'm soaking all this in and taking this in today of what we've experienced, I want to receive that challenge, and I hope we'll receive that challenge. I just think of Mr. Brook on Friday, calling us out. Here I am, here I am, here I am. And I kind of want to add Redbox to that. Here I am, Redbox, in the sense of, I hope that we will have the courage to stand up and tell our story. For us we heard that in the previous panel of how important just to meet people and those kinds of things. And so I want to challenge us to do that. You're going to hear more this semester as we talk about doing evangelism and sharing our faith. We've got a group of students who've been doing that, and we want to kind of reinvigorate that and continue to do that. And we'll talk about that in the days to come. But as we close up today, I want you to be aware of a couple things. I'm looking back, I'm looking at Mr. Bolt right now, and I want you to be really excited, Mr. Bolt, that you heard this morning growth in students, to nurture growth in students through relationships, excellence, and service. You heard our mission, and we didn't even do that on purpose today. People talking about the importance of relationships, of meeting new people that you didn't really think you would meet, and getting into deeper relationships and learning things that you thought you knew, but you didn't. JD nerding out with the Star Wars bros. I mean, come on. I mean, that had to be fun. Those relationships are so important. Excellence. Emma Gregerson. Man, excellence. Going into that internship, I don't know. And then seeing the excellence of what God has put in you and called you to, and then service, these incredible opportunities to serve and to see others the way Jesus sees them. Guys, what an incredible experience. And here's what I want us to do. I'm going to give you 10 minutes. I'm going to give 10 minutes to reflect. I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Silence, 10 seconds. And I want you just to breathe in your Winterim experience, gratitude, thank you for what you were able to experience. And then, Lord, would you use that to move me to the next place you want me to be? If it's with my friends, just in the cafeteria, we go to lunch, we hang out. If it's going on another mission trip, if it's giving my life to missions, to ministry, if it's becoming an engineer, whatever it may be, breathe it in, and then let's live it out. Lord, we are so grateful for your presence in our lives, so grateful for what you've done in the lives of these students over the last few weeks. And we pray that none of that would be wasted, that every experience would be seen to the glory of God, of what you have done in our relationships and our pursuit of excellence and our desire to serve in your kingdom. Thank you for our time together today. Lord, I applaud all the students who have gotten up here and shared, and pray that you would take the experience of them sharing today, and would you let that give them confidence and others in our student body confidence to live out the call that you've put on our lives. Lord, today, let us live for you. Here we are, and we want to serve you and honor you in all that we do. I ask it in Jesus' name, and all God's people said, amen. All right.